testimony and opening statements. Your full statements will be made a part of the record. I'm going to, before we start a round of questioning, I'm going to recognize Chair Cantwell for an opening statement.
Madam Chair, I will put a statement in the record, and if we can go to questions, that would be great.
Absolutely. Your statement, opening statement will be made a part of the record. I want to begin a round of questions. Each member will be given 5 minutes in this opening round. And I want to begin by acknowledging that our nation's effort to counter global drug trafficking requires a whole-of-government approach. While the Office of National Drug Control Policy provides overall direction to these efforts, each participating agency must also have clear goals, partnerships, and resource requirements. Ms. McLeod, can you please describe the Coast Guard's role in disrupting the flow of drugs and precursor chemicals within the National Drug Control Policy, and also what it would mean for the Coast Guard to have its own policy to prevent the smuggling of illicit synthetic drugs such as fentanyl?
The Coast Guard plays an important role in this area. There's no doubt about that. And our work has shown that the collaboration is very strong in these areas, including JIADF South and JIADF West and other task forces. However, our work has shown that the Coast Guard has struggled with foresight and managing towards a future that is different from the past. And I think that would be something important to look at in such a strategy.
Thank you. And Admiral Lunde, if this committee were to direct the Coast Guard to work with its partners and develop such a strategy, what activities would be prioritized, and how would you go about putting together that strategy?
Chair Baldwin, thank you for the question. The Coast Guard's existing strategy exists in the Western Hemisphere strategy, which is about a decade old, and it's principally focused on targeting the transnational criminal organizations that are smuggling into the U.S. We currently operate our counter-narcotics efforts under the 3 national strategies for the northern border, the southwest border, and the southeast border, and our efforts are targeted in those areas under the national strategy. But it is time for us to look at updating that strategy for the Western Hemisphere so it fully aligns with the evolving threat that now includes fentanyl and other synthetic drugs.
Thank you. Admiral Little, I'm interested in discussing with you the challenges of the Indo-Pacific and the work that the Coast Guard assets conduct to disrupt the global fentanyl supply chain. Part of determining how best to allocate resources and identifying where gaps remain involves adequately measuring performance. I notice that in 2019, the Government Accountability Office recommended your organization establish performance measures to track over time. This recommendation was implemented, and now, Admiral Little, can you please discuss what these measures show and about the efforts to track the global movement of precursor chemicals to synthetic drugs and how to improve our approach?
Yes, thank you, Chair Baldwin, for that question. We have looked at that 2019 GAO report and verified, what we did in 2019. And what I will say is I believe our metrics have evolved significantly and improved significantly even from that time to where we are now. What's transpired in the last 4 or 5 years is a defense-wide review. We've had a significant reduction in capacity at JIADF West. And we've evolved as an organization as we've had to reassess where our priorities are. As I mentioned in my opening statement, our number 1 priority being that of chasing the flow of precursor chemicals into the Western Hemisphere. So we've evolved our evaluation metrics to align with 4 lines of effort to include our number 1 priority, which is getting after the flow of both fentanyl precursors and the equipment that supports the supply of those things. Underneath that, we have measures of effectiveness and measures of performance in the neighborhood of about 60 specific measures that seek to ensure that we're applying our efforts on our highest priority work and that we're getting the results out of that work to support success. Just one example of that, of those results include increasing the number of interagency partners that we're working with, increasing the amount of cooperation, and significant increases in successful interdictions of precursors.
And on that topic, can you describe how you're increasing cooperation with Mexican partners specifically to stem the flow of precursor chemicals into Mexico? And how is that taking shape?
Yes, thanks, Chair Baldwin. Mexico is a critical partner in stemming the flow of precursor chemicals, particularly in the maritime environment. And as Ranking Member Sullivan mentioned in his opening remarks, the type of flow and the way those chemicals move in bulk into the ports and then into inland Mexico for further production into fentanyl, methamphetamines, or other synthetic opioids. Our role in that is to provide visibility and transparency to U.S. and international law enforcement to understand where are the chemicals, where are they coming from, and where are they headed. When we identify those at risk for diversion, we work very closely with U.S. law enforcement in Mexico City to get that information to CIMAR, the Mexican Navy who controls the ports, so that they can detain those chemicals and conduct further investigations prior to diversion for illicit use.
Thank you.